Hello, everybody. It's Miss Bader. We are back with another yoga class. We're going to do a few more strengthening poses today, along with some others. We're going to start with our favorite warm-up, cat-cow. And I'm going to, move my mat just a little bit back. And you're going to come to your tabletop. Fingers are spread wide like starfish. Toes can be either tucked or untucked. And we're going to do the movements with our breath. So inhale, belly drops, chin and tailbone up to the sky. Exhale, tuck chin, tuck tailbone around your back. Inhale, belly drops, chin and tailbone up to the sky for cow. Exhale into cat, tucking chin, tucking tailbone around your back. We'll do one more. Inhale, belly drops, chin and tailbone up to the sky for cow. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, round your back like a Halloween cat. And we'll come back to a flat back. We're going to do one round of sun salutation, Surya Namaskar. So move your knees back. If your toes aren't tucked, go ahead, tuck them. Making sure your fingers are still spread wide like starfish, gripping the mat with your fingertips and your knuckles. Inhale, hips up, downward facing dog, hips up to the sky. Spreading your fingers, making sure your fingers are spread so you take that pressure off your wrists. Heels make their way down to the floor. And you can either step or hop forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, hands to shins for half forward fold. Exhale, fold all the way in. Now inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. We'll find our mountain pose. Shoulders away from your ears, shoulder blades hug together on your back, palms facing forward, strong legs, strong arms. And here we go. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive down to the mat. Inhale, hands to shins for half forward fold. And exhale, plant your hands, step back to a plank or the top of a push-up. Strong arms, strong legs. Hips aren't too low, hips aren't too high. Using your strength to keep yourself up. And very slowly bend your elbows lower all the way down. Untuck your toes. Elbow tips hug in towards your body. Push into the tops of your feet. Push into your hands. Inhale, come up. Shoulders away from ears. Shoulder blades hug together on your back for cobra. And we can do snake breath on the way down. Inhale. Tuck your toes, push into your hands, move your hips back for puppy pose. You're looking out over your fingertips, hips are high, and we're gonna lift back up into a downward facing dog. And step or hop forward to the front of your mat. Push into your feet, inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Nicely done. Okay, we're going to do a couple strength exercises here. So inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive down into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, hands on your shins for half forward fold. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a plank. And this is a strong plank. Strong arms, strong legs, strong abdominals. Maybe walk your toes up just a little bit for what we're going to do next. And you can breathe in, inhale, lift up, downward facing dog. Strong arms here. Fingers are spread wide to take the pressure off your wrists. And lift your heels up, forward into another plank. We'll hold here for a few breaths. And push back up to downward facing dog. Hold here for a few breaths. Lift your heels up and forward to a plank. Inhale, back to downward facing dog. And forward to a plank. Let's lower knees. Untuck your toes. Bring your knees wide. Big toes touching. We'll take a quick breather in child's pose. So sit back on your heels. Lower your forehead down to the mat. We're taking some nice deep breaths here. Now let's sit back up. Get ready for our next pose. So you're going to lower down onto your forearms. You can either keep your palms on the mat or you can clasp your hands. I like to do it with clasped hands. And tuck your toes. Push into your hands. Lift your hips up. So we're in dolphin pose. So you can stay right here if this is working for you, or you can add a little bit more of a challenge. Keep in mind when adding this challenge, you need to keep your legs straight, so no bending knees, and head needs to be up off the mat, so no resting your head on the mat. If you're up for the challenge and you want to give it a try, you can take some baby steps forward with your feet. Keeping those legs straight, keeping your head off the mat. This is going to be challenging. And when you're ready, lower your knees. Sit back. Let's actually open up the fascia on the bottoms of our feet. So tuck your toes. Sit back on your heels. Stretch out the fascia on the bottom of your feet, which is really good for all those muscles and tendons on the bottom of your feet. And untuck your toes. Hands down, move your knees back. Toes are tucked. We're going to lift hips up and back, downward facing dog. And step or hop to the front of your mat or whatever it is you're practicing on. We're in an Uttanasana here. Legs are straight, fingertips on the mat, and remember, bending knees if you need to. Perfectly okay. And we're going to push into our feet. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. All right, I'm going to step to the center of my mat, and we're going to move into another strength pose called Utkatasana or chair pose. So I'm going to start by inhaling my arms up to the sky. I'm going to bring my feet together so that they're touching, so the insides of my feet are touching. And I'm going to pretend that there is an imaginary chair behind me. I'm going to sit down into that chair. And I want to have more weight resting in my heels. So sometimes to remind myself of that, I lift my toes up off the mat. Arms are on either side of my ears, and I can try and sit even lower. And then when we come out, it's like we're coming out of water. So you push into your feet, inhale, straighten, maybe you add a back bend. And exhale, hands to heart. We'll take a quick breather here. And let's do that again. We like to do things in threes, so let's do 3 of them. So again, arms up to the sky. Sit back in that imaginary chair. Maybe you go pretty deep. Maybe you go just to where it feels like it's strengthening but not hurting. We're working these quad muscles here. And we'll straight legs, come up out of the water, back bend. And exhale, hands to heart. We gotta do one more. Actually, let's switch that up. We will turn our chair pose into a twist. So, inhale, arms up to the sky. We're first go into our chair and then we'll add the twist. Sitting back in that imaginary chair, bring your hands to your heart. You're gonna turn to the left. You're gonna hook your right elbow outside your left knee or whichever side you're doing, keeping your hands at your heart by pushing that elbow into the side of your knee. Whoa. Sitting lower if you can. And then we'll come back up. Whew. And let's find mountain pose before we go into that again. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Then separate your hands, arms on either side of your ears. Sit back in that imaginary chair. Bring your hands to your heart. Turn to the opposite side. So I'm turning to my right. I'm going to hook my left elbow outside my right knee and keeping my hands, I'll turn so you can see me. Keeping my hands at my heart by pushing that elbow into my knee. And I'm going to inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Nice. Okay, so now you're going to face forward. We're going to do a little shoulder opener. So you can either step or you can hop to a wide-legged stance. Toes are pointed straight ahead, feet are parallel. Either widen or narrow your stance, whatever works for you. You're going to take your hands behind your back and you're going to clasp your hands. Shoulder blades squeeze together on your back. Grow nice and tall. Hinging at your hips. You're going to fold forward. And then you're going to bring your hands away from your body as far as you can. Maybe they just go a couple inches away from your body. Maybe if you have really open shoulders, I've seen people who can bring their hands all the way down to the floor. That's not me. And now bring your hands to your hips. Push into your feet. Use those core muscles. And inhale, come all the way up. Now you're going to turn right toes to the side. I'm going to cartwheel my hands on either side of that front foot to a runner's lunge. And I'm going to bring that front foot back. I'm going to come into a plank again. We've done a lot of planks today. Because we've been doing some strength work, let's lower knees. We're going to go knees, chest, chin. So knees, now lower your chest and your chin, straighten out. What did I want us to do? We're going to start out with just a small back bend. So onto your forearms, hands are flat on the mat, legs are straight out behind you, and toes are untouched. So the tops of your feet are on the floor. You're going to push into your elbows and lift your torso up so that we are bending our backs just a little bit, getting in a mild back bend. And Good. Now come lower back down a little bit. You're going to bend, let's say, your left knee, either one, and you're going to reach back with your left hand and hold on to your left foot. And then you're going to bend your right knee, reach back, and hold on to your right foot. You're going to go into bow pose, Dhanurasana. So now you're going to kick your feet into your hands. You're going to lift your thighs up off the mat, lift your torso. I know some of you can lift so much of your body off the mat. I'm not one of those. But see how much of your body you can get to lift up off the mat. So we'll lower down. Rest one hand on top of the other. Rest one cheek on your hands. We'll take a couple breaths here. And let's do it again. We're going to come back to Sphinx pose. We're on our forearms. Maybe bend the opposite foot first this time. So I'm going to bend my right knee, reach back with right hands to grab my right foot. Bending my left knee, I'm going to reach back and grab my left foot. And I'm going to kick my hands into my feet. I'm going to lift my thighs, lift my torso. Try and keep legs, knees not too wide, but keep your thighs parallel to each other. And lower back down. Rest one hand on top of the other. Turn and rest the opposite cheek on those hands, and we'll take a breather here. And now we're going to roll onto our backs. Let's do another twist. So with knees bent, feet on the mat, find your cactus arms. So hands are on either side of your ears, palms facing up towards the sky. You're going to lower your knees both knees off to the right. Rest them on the floor, and then you're going to turn your head and look in the opposite direction. I've got my knees off to the right, and I'm looking to the left. And turn so you're looking straight up to the sky. Bring your knees back up to center. And you're going to lower them to the left. Turning your head to the right. And then look up towards the sky. Bring your knees back up towards the sky. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Bring your arms so that they're long by your sides. Palms are facing up towards the sky. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. And sometimes in Shavasana, it feels a little better on our backs if you squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't. I just offer it up because some people find that their lower backs feel a little strained in this position. And eyes close. Everything releases. You release the tension in your arms and in your legs and in your feet. You close your eyes. Rest the muscles in your face. feel like everything gets heavy and there's my dog deciding to bark in the middle of Shavasana. Of course he is. Sorry about that. I'm sure it's something super important, like a dog walking by my house. Not the most restful Shavasana, my apologies. But relax your whole body. Maybe you can do a visualization. Maybe you can picture yourself in room 30, where we've practiced yoga together with our friends. And you can take as long a Shavasana as you'd like. We're going to gently start coming out of Shavasana by bringing movement slowly into our bodies by wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. And remember, we're not wiggling our arms or our legs. We're coming out of this slowly and gradually. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Slowly wrap your arms around your knees. Give yourself a big hug. Lift your right arm up overhead, rested on the floor behind you. And now gently roll over on your right side using that arm as a pillow. And then bring your left hand over to rest on the mat in front of your chest. Push into the floor with that left hand. Lift yourself back up so you are in a seated position. You can either be in Sukhasana, easy pose, or if this works for you, you can be in Virasana or hero's pose, where you've got your heels, knees are touching, heels are on either side of your hips. And this can be challenging. It's also challenging to sit up nice and tall because some of us tend to sort of slouch into our lower backs when we sit like this, and that's not really good for our bodies. So if you're sitting in Virasana, sit up nice and tall. So tuck that lower back in. And we'll close out together. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Bring your hands to your forehead to remember kind thoughts. Hands to your mouth to remember kind words. Hands to your heart to remember kind actions. And namaste, everybody. Missing you all. Hope that you are staying healthy and having fun.